What is up, YouTube? Zuki M1 here, and I am back with a brand new YouTube video. Today we are going to have another story time with me talking about my relationship with my siblings. Boy, how long has it been since I have made a story time video? I felt like it's been a long time overdue, to be honest, because I haven't really talked about me in a minute. I've been really focused on trying to grow out the channel, really focused on trying to get things up and running, to try to help grow out my numbers and stuff like that. We've had a really good couple months and stuff like that or whatever, so I don't know, I just felt it was a good idea to have some of the newer viewers who don't know me that well get to know me a little bit better. If you guys are curious as to who I am and what I'm about, I put a link to a playlist up at one of these corners. It's going to be either this corner or this corner. It's going to have the a playlist of my whole entire story time. So talking about past relationships in terms of friends and my family, my father, my mother, and now my siblings. Also talking about like what it was like for me going through high school, elementary school, and college and stuff like that or whatever. So if you guys are interested in any of that stuff, the iCards will be in one of those sides of the screens. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. So I guess it kind of started like when I was younger. I was the oldest, so there was nobody else on the scene yet. My mother and my father got together, and when they got together, they had me, you know. When they had me, I was their first kid together. My dad wanted to get married with my mom. Just to recap, if for people who already seen my mother and my dad video, they already know this story. But for those who hasn't, just a quick real recap. My dad tried to marry my mom. My mom denied him, saying that she wasn't ready for a kid. Wasn't ready to become married. So she turned him down, and my dad ended up gaining full custody over me because my mother was like she said, was irresponsible and, you know, couldn't take care of me. So she lost custody over me and all my, she lost custody over me. During that time window before my dad had got custody over me, I had two younger sisters. One was named Tashina and the other one name was Chantel. We had sorry. I had three younger sisters, so my mother was busy. She had my younger sister, Tashina, my next to younger sister, Chantel, and then my, at the time, the youngest, Infinity, right? So those were my three sisters that I had, and my mother lost custody over all four of us at the same time. So each one of us went to a different foster home except the last two. The last two was together. So Chantel and Infinity were together. They were like a package deal. You couldn't have one without the other. My father was lucky enough to gain custody over me, so I didn't enter the system and get sent somewhere else type of thing. I was able to stay with my family. So once my father gained custody over me, I lived with him until our house had burned down. When our house had burned down, I ended up staying with with my grandparents on my father's side, but then they couldn't keep me inside their retirement home, so then I ended up leaving there and ended up living back with my mom. Now, when I came back to go live with my mom, she had my youngest sister, and she's still my youngest sister to this day. She didn't have another younger sister. Her name is Diamond. My father did eventually get married, and he had a younger son that wasn't born in wedlock. So my father and his wife got married and they had a kid. His name was Vincent, who was named after my father. So my father had one kid in marriage. His name was Vincent, but he never treated us differently. Obviously, he always treated us all the same. So you wouldn't know any difference from when you were a kid, but as you grew up, you learn the rest of the pieces and stuff like that. So when my father died, my stepmother took custody over my stepbrother, and she didn't want anything to do with me. She didn't even write my name on my father's obituary. That's how little she cared about me or wanted anything to do with me. And it was mainly due to the fact that she had a real sour relationship with my mom, I believe. She just didn't really like my mother because she felt like she was, she just didn't appreciate my mother. She didn't want anything to do with me as a result. And so she didn't write me on my father's obituary, only like one little small section, like his older son, Herbert. And that was literally it. Like she literally wrote one little part. The rest of the obituary was like her, my brother, and him, obviously, right? My father. So I was like, damn, was you feeling some type of way? Like, you want to tell me how you really feel? Like, damn, you petty as hell, right? But, whatever. I can't really get too bent out of shape about it, right? So that's my relationship with my brother still to this day, unfortunately. There's no real update on my brother's side. That's the reason why I told you his right away, because his is the shortest. We met again when I was like 12. His grandmother had brought him out to go visit me and my grandmother, and obviously his grandmother as well. And we hung out for like a day, and then that was it. I haven't seen him since. It's been 13 years since the last time I saw my little brother. He went to jail, got out, has a criminal record, but now he's rapping, he's doing all this other cool stuff now, so I'm really proud of what he's doing for himself or whatever. He went through a little rough period, but he's better now, so I'm proud of him for doing what he believes in himself and doing what he likes to do and stuff like that. And that's pretty much my brother in a nutshell. I think he has a daughter too, by the way, so he has a kid. I don't, obviously. So he has a kid. He's not married. And yeah, that's pretty much everything about my brother. If I forget something, I'll leave a little update in the comment section. I'll pin it or something. Now on to my sisters. My oldest sister, not older than me, obviously, but the one that was right next to me. Her name is Tashina, and she was, we didn't really have that close of a relationship, mainly due to the fact that she was in the foster care, and she stayed in the foster care her entire time there. So I never got a chance to really get to meet her until she got old enough to come around on her own. So she came around, she introduced my mother, me, and my sisters and my uncle to her son at the time. His name is Jaden. So Jaden was the first one she introduced us to. Then she later introduced us to Janila, which is my niece. So Jaden and Janila, and then now she has a third kid. His name is Jordan. Now, I've never met their baby daddies at all, so I don't know who any of their baby daddies are. And yeah, apparently all of them are bums because they have nothing to do with the moms at all. I mean, nothing to do with the kids because they don't have any relationship with the mom, type of thing. Like, well, we don't want anything to do with her, so you got full custody over the kid. We'll just pay child support, type of thing. Which kind of sucks, but Yeah, I don't know. I don't personally understand it myself. It's a little bit of a complicated topic for me to understand because I don't have that type of relationship with people. Thank God. You know, if you believe in that stuff anyway. But yeah, it was that's pretty much it with me and her. Like, we're cool. We talk. We hang out. We've hung out like maybe once or twice. But that's pretty much it. I don't really know her that well, unfortunately, only because of the fact that she grew up with different parents, and she just never bothered to want to know my mother like that. But she's just like her. Like, unfortunately, you guys won't never honestly meet my family, obviously, more than likely. But just know my oldest sister, and my mother are exactly the same. Like, they did the exact same shit. Her oldest child is a boy, just like me, right? She has 3 kids already. She took a break. She gonna pop out probably one more, and that'll be the 4 kids that she had. My mother had 4 kids, right? And if it's another girl, then they exactly the same, basically. So I'm gonna try to be there as much as I possibly can, more than my uncles were. Anyway, no offense to my uncles, I love them, but I'll tell you about my uncles and stuff in another video if you guys are interested. I'll tell you about them and stuff like that too. But just know that my uncles, they're all kind of weird type of thing. We don't talk or hang out or anything like that. Like, we didn't have no real relationship, basically. And that's pretty much everything for Tashina. Now, Chantel, Infinity, and Diamond, I have very intimate relationships with each one of the 3 of them. We got a chance to hang out more often. We got a chance to be around each other more often, mainly due to the fact that Chantel and Infinity both lived with my grandmother's aunt, who named we didn't actually know her name, so we just called her auntie, which doesn't make any sense because she would be our great auntie because she's our grandmother's auntie. If that, follow me if you guys can, right? Our grandmother has an aunt. That aunt got custody over my 2 younger sisters. We never knew what her name was, so we just called her auntie. But she's our great auntie, my sisters and me. Okay? Cool? You got it? Cool. So yeah, she stayed with them. Then she lost custody over them because the same shit that happened with my mom, with the police raiding the house, taking custody over the kids, had happened to her. So they kicked down the door. They took custody over my younger sisters, and then they ended up with my cousin May. My cousin May was a really good parental figure, and I really liked her, but apparently she used to show a lot of favoritism and stuff like that. So she used to make the girls feel insignificant and less valuable than my cousins and stuff like that because they wasn't her kids, or they didn't have direct connections with her and stuff like that. You know, a bunch of bullshit that some families do and stuff like that or whatever. And shit, that went they stayed with them until they was like 16, and then she just gave over custody back to my mother. I don't know how she got custody back over them, but she was like, "You want custody back over your kids?" She was like, "Yeah," and then boom, I got both my younger sisters back. So then Chantel and Infinity, they were kind of distant at first. They didn't want anything to do with me for the most part. They really just wanted to get to know my mother more, which I kept trying to explain to them, like, that's a wasted effort. But they wanted to try, right? And I can't tell somebody that is wrong to try to do something that you want to do, right? I can just tell you not to do it. And if you do it still, then that's out of my hands, right? So yeah, that went on. for a couple years. They didn't want really too much to do with me, only up until recently. Now, me and Chantel, on the other hand, me and her had a closer relationship. Me and her were really tight for the most part. It's the two younger ones, Diamond and Infinity, that didn't really fuck with me like that. They thought I was bougie. They thought I was stuck up. They thought I didn't really care about anybody but myself and stuff like that. They thought I was really selfish. And yeah, they just didn't really want too much to do with me. Now, fast forward a couple years, I had just finished high school. I had a job that was paying me well. And then, everything was going in my way. So I decided, hey, man, this would be a perfect time for me to try to reconnect with my family, right? So I invite my entire family out, my uncles, my aunties, my grandmother, everybody, right? We all go to Giordano's. The only people who made it was my core family. So my grandmother, my mother, my younger sisters, and then my uncles. They used to stay with my grandmother and stuff like that. So that's why they could come. And we all was eating pizzas and stuff like that. I thought we were having a good time. I tried to see if we can go to the movies because I had paid for the whole dinner. Then I tried to pay for the movies, but the movies were closing soon. So all the movies that we wanted to see, they already had showed it. So there was nothing we can do about that. So then I paid for everybody to get on the bus and train and stuff like that or whatever. So I paid for the dinner. I paid for them to get out there, and then I paid for them to get back home, right? And then as I'm paying for them to get back on the train and stuff like that or whatever, they tell me that I'm bougie and I'm stuck up. That's the reason why they don't like to interact with me. And I was like, wow, I did all this selfless stuff for you guys today, and this is how you guys feel about me? So, yeah, granted, it just made me want to keep my distance, right? Love them from afar and not really interact with them that much, only because of the fact that they showed me that they don't value me as a person, even after I had did all this selfless stuff for them, because I don't gain anything by doing any other stuff that I did for them. I just did it just because I wanted to do something nice for them. And that was pretty much it. They just didn't care. And that went on for some months up until I had got my first apartment, and I was there for a couple months. If you guys had seen the story about the betrayal or whatever, the one that I had made, you'll see that one had got posted about me and my old best friend that was staying with me or whatever. When he was in the room, he had told me about one of my younger sisters dealing with some difficult issues. Now, she was saying stuff that I would say all the time, like she wants to get her life together. She's tired of living in this toxic environment. Nothing that she wants to do gets done, and nobody takes anything seriously. They all just want to just get high all the time, stuff like that or whatever. So I was like, cool, she got her head on straight. This is perfect. I can work with this, right? So I had told her that she could move in with me. Now, the moment she moved in with me, everything got super intense for her. We had got her state ID, social security card, and got her back into school. So everything that she wanted to do, we had accomplished. The moment she started back into school, she had straight A's on everything. She did not have a single D, N, or F. She didn't even have a C. She just had straight A's. I was so proud of her. And, at this point in time in me and her relationship, so this is Infinity that I'm talking about, by the way. So at this point in time in our relationship between me and her, we had pretty much got super tight. And, anything that she wanted from me, she could have just basically asked, and I would have said, yeah. So she came to me, heart to heart, and she was like, man, can you let my friend stay here with me? And I was like, sure, you know, I didn't really want her to stay there with us, but you know, she asked, and she looked like somebody important to her, so I said, sure, you know, she can stay with us. And she stayed with us, and the moment, that was the first mistake that I ever made with them. Because the moment I had let her friend move in with us, I completely lost my sister. She started smoking weed again. She started coming late to school. She just gave up on everything that she was achieving. So I told her friend that she had to leave to try to, you know, save my sister the best I can before that's too late. And when I told her friend that she had to leave, she stole all my stuff out of my apartment too. So she stole stuff from me, and then my best friend stole stuff from me. And if you saw that video about betrayal, you probably heard that already too. So after after her friend had left and stuff like that, you know, things just got real weird between me and my sister and stuff like that. And eventually I had got let go from my job. So I didn't have a job anymore. And then I started live streaming full-time as a full-time gig at the start of 2018. And my sister was still going to school. So like it would be really difficult to be streaming and stuff like that, because if you guys ever seen any of my live streams, I'm really loud, really boisterous and stuff like that. So when I'm yelling and screaming and stuff, she's like over there in the corner trying to sleep. Now I kept recommending to her to sleep in my room, but she didn't want to do that. She wanted to stay on the couch in the living room, which where my setup was, right? My PC, my modem, everything that I needed was literally in the living room. So there was no way around it. So eventually she just said that I gotta move out, and I was like, okay, I understand, right? So she moved out, and then my YouTube channel started growing, but my relationship with with her grew further and further apart. Eventually she just stopped interacting with me altogether. So that's pretty much where where me and her relationship is. So just to recap, me and Tashina don't really have that close of a relationship because she grew up with her foster parents. Chantel, me and her are real tight. Me and her are cool and stuff like that. We talk all the time. She has a girlfriend, by the way, Chantel. She has a girlfriend. I just recently found that out. So that's really cool, you know. And then Infinity, I'm telling you the story between me and Infinity. Me and her had a lot of history, as you guys can hear from all the stuff that I'm telling you. And then me and Diamond. Now me and Diamond actually grew up together. So she was like she was the one that I actually got a chance to grow up from when she was a baby all the way up until she was where she is right now, which is 19 years old, right? During that whole time period, she was always trying to be under me, always trying to be, you know, annoy me and stuff like that. She was a typical younger sister that just annoy you, say stupid stuff, piss you off, but you know, you like it or whatever. It's not that big of a deal, especially when you're the oldest and stuff like that. And yeah, you know, it was cool. But eventually my uncles had came back onto the scene, and she didn't want anything to do with me anymore. So me and her we didn't actually reestablish our relationship until actually super recently, actually. So that's pretty much where it had stopped. Like I grew up with her. My uncles came back on the scene when I was like a freshman in high school, and then I didn't interact with her until recently. She came over, she hit me up one day right before her birthday. She asked me, did I want to hang out? I took her out to the mall, go buy her some shoes and a dress and stuff like that. And then, you know, we had ended up getting a real close connection. So now we talk all the time, we hang out all the time. I just helped her with a resume so she can submit it to a job and stuff like that. And yeah, you know, life is good for her now, you know, and life is good between me and her. So I'm really happy how that turned out. And yeah, me and my brother, we kind of just people who know we're related to each other, but we don't really have no relationship at all. Like, again, we only saw each other, like for him, he wouldn't even remember me because the time when I was hanging out with him, he was still in diapers. Like I used to change his diapers and stuff. And then the only other time that we ever saw each other was when he was 11 and I was I was 11, so he was like real young, because he's like 4 years younger than me, so he's 21, 22 right now, and I'm 25. So yeah, but yeah, that's the story of my siblings and stuff like that. So I don't know if this one was pretty long, but you know, that it's 5 siblings, so it was a lot to talk about. But yeah, guys, if you guys did enjoy this video, please let me know, because you know, if you do, I'll make another one. But if you're not, don't worry about it. You know, it'll be a while before I make another one, when I really have some time on my hands to make another one, or you know, when I feel like talking about more family members and stuff like that. But with that, I'm gonna close out the video. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. But this has been Zuki M1, and I hope you guys have a great morning, great evening, great afternoon, and great night. But I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Oh, by the way, happy holidays. Well, not holidays, happy Halloween. That's why I'm dressed up like this. This is the scout units from Attack on Titans. So, in case you guys were wondering, Anyways, peace out for now, guys.